This is the new Cupra Born VZ, and today I'm going to do a range and consumption test, cabin noise test, and also a charging test. Welcome to It's Only Electric. Let's start. This is a hatchback measuring just over 4.3 meters in length with a wheelbase of 2.8 meters. It weighs just under 2 tons. This Cupra Born is the VZ version, or Velo as they say in Spanish, and that means fast. So this is the performance version or hot hatch version. It is rear wheel drive with a 240 kilowatt motor at the back that produces 326 horsepower and 545 Newton meters torque. It should be able to do 0 to 100 in 5.7 seconds with a top speed of 200 kilometers per hour. But this car is built on the Volkswagen MEB platform, so it shares the platform with the ID3 and other ID cars. When it comes to charging, this car is built on a 400 volt system. It should be able to charge from 10 to 80% in 26 minutes with a top speed of 185 kilowatts. When it comes to home charging, it should be able to do 11 kilowatts. But we will see about the 10 to 80% and also the top speed later in this video. This car has a gross battery capacity of 84 kilowatts with a net capacity of 79 kilowatts, which is huge for this size of vehicle. Its stated VLTP range are 590 kilometers, and this is for the VZ version with the big motor. The VZ or Velo comes with 20-inch rims as standard. This one is equipped with Nokian Hakkapeliitta 10 studded winter tires with the dimension 215/45. In the summer, this car comes with 235 and 40 tires. I've been driving for 24 kilometers and the average consumption right now is 19.8 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, which is really good to be honest, because we have just finished the high-speed stretch, which is 110 kilometers per hour. And I don't know if you can see it, but it's really foggy outside. The weather condition is not optimal. The roads are damp. It's 0 degrees outside, and we're driving on 20-inch winter tires that's studded. 19 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers is really good, especially if you think about the battery size of this car. So this will be really interesting. So this range test, we're always sticking to the same routes. We're doing 80 kilometers with mixed speeds between 50 to 110 kilometers per hour. And we're always driving the same stretch. The only difference is the cars and the weather. And we have a couple of set rules. We always stick to the speed limits. This is the first one. The second one is we put the car in eco mode or range mode or whatever is the most efficient mode. And the third rule is put the AC to 20 degrees and eco if available. So I have done all of these things and I'm keeping the speed limit also. So Cupra has newly updated the screen, or the infotainment at least. It's a bigger screen with new software or updated software. It is actually really good. And the new screen is quick, it's responsive, and it works good overall. I have no crashes, no bugs, nothing at all. So Volkswagen, or Cupra in this case, has done a great work with the infotainment screen, and it's a lot better than the early MEB platform cars. Those were horrible when it comes to software. I would say this is one of the better infotainment systems. You have two main screens. One that tells you your battery percentage and estimated range, also when you started driving, your average consumption and everything. And then you also have your current music, but you can change these two. You have a second screen, and here you have the maps, so it's a different layout. And here you can add your home and work address. So you have a quick buttons. You can also find chargers and everything. Looks good. Also your music again, but also your quick contacts. You can add some favorites to call them. On top of that, you have your app drawer where all the apps are. So you press here and you have all the apps. Everything is here, and it's also two screens. As I said, really snappy. This car also have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, and they work great wirelessly, of course. So you have a charging pad underneath your armrest. The integration works great with Android Auto. I have zero complaints. You can press the battery icon up here, and then you can go into optimize, and here you can start battery heating, and here you see currently it's 60% of the maximum capacity, so it tells you how long it will take to get to the optimal heat of the battery. If we plug in right now, it will charge at 51 kilowatts, but if we start battery heating, it will go up to maybe 80 kilowatts, but this is because this is 60% of the maximum capacity at this state of charge. Well, I have just passed 44 kilometers, and the average consumption right now is 17.7, which is fairly good. But this is the slow stretch, or like the low speed part. The consumption will go up again because we will be driving on motorways again up to 110 kilometers per hour. So the consumption will go up, but I think this test will be really great. And this car has a massive battery, especially for its size. And this new electric motor that Volkswagen has put on the MEB platform, the 286 horsepower, but on this car 326 horsepower, is actually really efficient and really good. And I love that it is rear wheel drive. It makes this car a lot of fun. We have the mandatory European regulation of speed limit warning. On this car, I actually don't turn it off that often because the sound is not that annoying, and it reads the speed signs pretty decently. Let's see if you can just make it so now it's beeping. So fortunately, it's really easy to turn off the speed limit warning on this car, even though I'm not doing this on this car as often as I do on other cars. But you just swipe down from the middle, and you have like the third button is a car and a speed sign. You just press that and it's off. You always have it from wherever you are, in whatever settings you are, you just swipe down and press this button. On the Cupra Born, you also have the other sensors and other warning systems. I haven't had any problems with this car. It's not whining at me at all, so I really like the safety systems and everything. I only turn off the speed limit warning, but that's not that often also, if it reads the road signs wrong and everything, because the sounds are not that annoying. But for those that want to turn it off, you can just pull it down, and to the far most left you have a button, and here you have lane assist, your speed warning, your attention monitor, and also the drowsiness monitor. This Cupra Born is equipped with cruise control and also lane keep assist. To activate the cruise control, you just press the Z button and then press plus and minus to adjust your speed. Really easy to use. To the left of the plus and minus buttons, you have a car with 3 lines. On those 3 lines, you can adjust the distance between the cars in front. When you have lane keep assist on, you will see 2 green lines filling up, and then you know the lane keep assist is on. I wouldn't say it's amazing. There's a lot of cars that's better lane keep assist. It works okay. Sometimes it gets annoyed because you're not holding it on top. So you need to hold it on top, left or right, and just press a little bit firmly, and then it doesn't bother you with hold the steering wheel. There have been a couple of times when I've been driving, even changing lanes with the lane keep assist on, and the car says to me, hold the steering wheel. I'm always changing lanes, so you should understand that I'm holding the steering wheel because I'm changing the lane actively. It's not the best one, but it works. It ping-pongs you a little bit. It's sometimes it doesn't find the lines and just drops it. A little bit dangerous. But still, it's a decent system, and I see myself using it all the time. The Cupra Born has the new heads-up display from Volkswagen Group. It's the big one or the premium one, but it's amazing. It's one of the best heads-up display on the market. The ID.7 GTX that we drove a couple of weeks ago had the same one. Also really good. It's big, it's clear, it's easy to understand. You have all the information you need. You see current speed, you can see your consumption, you can see the max speed, you can see your lane keep assist, and you also see the navigation. So you will also have augmented reality with arrows to turn left or right or what is needed. I think this heads-up display is the best on the market right now. of the ones I have tested, of course. It's time to summarize the range and consumption test. The Cupra Born managed 18.5 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, which doesn't sound great, but it's actually pretty decent. Considering the 0 degrees outside, wet/damp roads, no sun to speak of, it was cloudy, it was foggy, and I said 0 degrees. And this VZ version, Velo Sport version, has a 326 horsepower motor at the back and also drives on the 20-inch wheels with studded winter tires. And all this makes the consumption higher, of course. But still, it managed 18.5, which equates to 72% of the VLTP range, a little bit higher than 72%. I think with a little bit better weather, 2-3 degrees warmer, a little bit sun, and dry roads, you will easily get 450-460 kilometers. In the summer, you should be able to get 500 kilometers in medium speeds pretty easily. So even if the motor is a lot bigger, 326 horsepower, 545 newton meters of torque, it doesn't seem to affect the total range in any meaningful way. Maybe it's even more efficient than the smaller motor. To the cabin noise test. We drive on the same road every time and on the same stretch. We drive at 50, 70, 90 and 110 kilometers per hour. We put the microphone in head height on the passenger side and we measure the average noise in average speed. This car did pretty good for its class. It was a little bit worse than the ID3 with 19-inch wheels, a little bit worse than the Zeekr X with 20-inch wheels, but it was still better than the Megane E-Tech and the Volvo EX30. Some cars, they feel more quiet than they are. This car is the opposite. It feels more noisy than it is. But I think in this case it is the 20-inch studded winter tires that gives a humming noise all the time in the background. But it performed decently, so it's a quiet car for its class. To the most interesting aspect of the Cupra Born VZ or Velo, and that's the charging. On the Cupra website it mentions 120 kilowatts and in some places 170 kilowatts of charging, but doesn't mention any 10 to 80%. So I was expecting maybe 30 minutes or 32 minutes in charging time. So I plugged the car in, charged from 10 to 80%, and it took 25 minutes and 15 seconds with a peak speed of 186 kilowatts. And that is really good for a car in this class and this segment. And as I said, I was expecting at least 30 minutes. So I thought I did something wrong, but this is how this car charges. And even at 80% state of charge, the car was charging at 83 kilowatts, which is really good. So this car is one of the best charging cars in its segment. And Cupra doesn't even mention it on their website, which is pretty crazy. If you go into the Volkswagen website and spec an ID3 GTX, then you can see the 10 to 80% time is 26 minutes and the top speed of charging is 185 kilowatts. I don't know why the Cupra doesn't mention these really good charging speeds on their website. Could be a good selling point for the car because it's a 400 volt system. You can get the speeds on most chargers. To summarize this video and my thoughts on this car, I must say I'm really impressed. Even though this car is based on the old MEB platform, the small changes they've done, the bigger screen, the new software, the new more efficient and bigger motor at the back, the new battery pack that's bigger, charging faster, it makes it a really good package. It's almost a new car, but with the same looks. I'm really surprised by this car, especially the charging, the motor efficiency, and it's really fun to drive. Like you can really hoon it around, you can drift it. You shouldn't do it, but you can if you want. It's not the fastest car. It's 5.7 seconds. There's a lot of cars that's faster. All the Tesla's dual motors are faster, but this is a lot more fun. This car is one of my top picks, and I would choose this before the Kia EV3 because it's more fun, it looks better. Even though it's an old platform, the charging is better, the range is better. It's a lot more fun to drive. I think it has more personality. I also love these cup bucket seats, sports seats. They are really sporty, hold me in place and like hugging me, but they're still comfortable. You have electric heating, also electric adjustments and also memory in them. So even though they're really sporty, they're still comfortable, at least for me. There's a lot of things I love about this car. The handling, the sportiness, the fun factor, the range is really good, the charging is really good. I think the looks of this car is a lot better than the ID cars of cars. It's a little bit more playful, a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more unique. There have been a couple of people looking at it, asking what it is, and say that it looks good. So it grabs a little bit of attention, not like a real sports car, but some type of attention if you like that. But it's unique. I like its personality. I also like the infotainment system now with the updated software and the new screen, a little bit bigger. It's clear, it's snappy, you have all the function, it looks good, the design is good for the Cupra branding. And the worst thing for me in this car is the steering wheel. Not the steering wheel per se, because it looks really good and it feels really good, but I don't like these capacitive touch buttons. Especially if you want to raise the volume or change the speed, you need to press, and the pressing is, you need to press pretty firm, and it takes a long time between the presses. You press one time, but you can also swipe them up and down, which is really great. It makes it a lot faster to change the volume or change the speed instead of one at a time. But the problem is, if you have gloves on you, it doesn't work. The other thing is, when I'm driving sometimes and I'm holding like the regular position as you should do, then sometimes I'm touching the volume knob or volume buttons and it's changing the volume all the time, especially in corners and things. So I would prefer real buttons instead of these haptic touch buttons, but it's not a deal breaker. As you already know, I really like this car, but I will not be able to go through everything in this video. But to see the full review and some other aspects of the car, you can see my brother's review, and it's up here or here. Check that one. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, and that's the price, as many other electric vehicles. This car starts at 605,000 crowns or 52,000 euros. And that does not include the Sennheiser sound system, which is a needed upgrade for this car because the bass system is not good at all. But this one is actually really good with 10 speakers. And then you want to add the glass roof, you want to add the lane keep assist and everything. And this car will now be at 660,000 crowns or 57,000 euros. That's a lot for a hot hatch or a car at this size in this segment. 57,000 euros is a lot of money to have a little bit fun in a small car. This car with this price is expensive and it has a lot of competition. You can buy a Tesla Model 3 long range rear wheel drive that's faster 0 to 100. It's a bigger car and you can save 100,000 crowns or 9,000 euro approximately. You can add 40,000 crowns or 3,500 euros and buy an ID.7 GTX fully equipped. A lot bigger car, even longer range, even better performance. This car should have cost at least 50,000 crowns or 100,000 crowns less. It shouldn't be over 45,000 euros if you ask me. Still, the Cupra Born VZ is one of my top picks. It's comfortable, it has good range, it's perfect in the city, small and compact, decent space in the back and in the front. The boot could have been bigger, but it's a hot hatch. It's fun to drive with the rear motor, 326 horsepower, and the comfort is good. You can change the damper stiffness and everything, so it's a really good complete package. The price is the problem for this car if you ask me, otherwise it's a really good complete package. Please comment down below what you think about the Cupra Born VZ. Would you choose this before another car, or would you go for a Model 3 long range, maybe a Kia EV3 or even the Volkswagen ID.7 GTX? Comment down below why you would pick this car or the other cars. I would love to have a discussion. As I said, I could make this video 1 hour longer. I have a lot to talk about and I like it a lot. But thank you for watching, and as we always say, stay electric.